Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for week 10 Tuesday for Algebra 2, semester 2. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions for your warm-up log. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. So when I saw you guys on Friday, this was your QR code for your warm-up. If you have not turned that in yet, this is what you need to turn in. You also have this pasted onto Teams, so you're welcome to do that. But once you get to that form, I just asked you like some pretty simple generic questions about the 300 points that you're going to be accumulating. Like 100 points is like, how many of the boxes did you fill out? So you just give me your first and last name first, then tell me how many boxes did you fill out. And then there's a question about preparation, a question about participation. And then lastly, you just total it out of 300, and then you just hit submit. And then that's what you need to do for that part. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so I'll be updating your grade. So if you have not submitted your warm-up yet, you may want to do that, or else it's going to go in as missing. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna have you guys do is your exit ticket reflection for today. I saw this on TikTok yesterday. And basically a middle school teacher in Palm Springs, California recently asked the students to disclose something about their parents that made them cringe. And he then revealed his student answer on a TikTok video, which went viral. And there was like a lot of really funny things that his kids said. And I thought I'm gonna share it with you guys. Like, for example, some of his kids said that my mom still uses Facebook, which I'm like, well, I don't know if that's cringeworthy. It just means your mom's old. I mean, like, I still use Facebook for contacting some of the people that, you know, that are older. My dad still wears Speedos, which I'm like, okay, that's a little bit cringeworthy. Other one says, my parents listen to Katy Perry, or my parents take mirror selfies. My parents watch NCIS and says the phrase, that's tight, which I'm like, okay. My mom calls herself a gangster. One student wrote, girl, no. And other people said that their mom still dabs, which I was like, okay, I get it. So then my other kids, some of my freshmen had some pretty funny little things that they shared with me. And they said that my parents trying to understand social media. Other people said that when my parents kiss and they're really romantically in front of us, all lovey-dovey and stuff. Another one of my freshmen says, yeah, when my mom comes up behind my dad and like swaps him in the behind in front of all of us while we're eating breakfast in the morning. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit embarrassing. And other students, like my calculus kid says, when my dad just randomly calls me the names he say when I was little, I was like, that's just because he loves you. When my dad tries to use slang words, when my mom bought her first Easy shoes and she said it was fire. I was like, that was cute. Let's see. My parents just don't understand anything I enjoy and trying to watch them understand. It's really funny. Or when my parents try to be hip, it's really funny. Other people have said, well, my parents are trying to explain how to use social media to my grandparents and they don't know how to use technology. That's pretty awesome. And so what I want you guys to do is you're going to go over to this QR code right there, and that's going to be the Padlet for you guys. And when you get on there, there's that plus sign on the lower right-hand corner. You're going to click on that plus sign. You're going to type in your name and then answer the following 3 questions. The first one is, what are some cringeworthy things that your parents or family member do to make you squirm? Number 2, what is one thing that you appreciate about your family member? And then number 3, how are you feeling going into week 10? So normally I do this at the end, but today we're just going to push it to the very beginning. So I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes and give me your response. Okay, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and move on from here. So if there's one thing that you want to figure out what we did last class, we did the warm-up. So that's one thing. Another thing we did was the foldable. Remember that? And so if you were not here yesterday, does anybody need a copy of the photo from yesterday, I have it right over here. You're welcome to grab it. And then just watch the video from yesterday to kind of get caught up with what you missed. We basically filled out everything in here. We went over the answers at the very end of class. Keep in mind that your Math Excel is already in progress for week 10. I will have your quiz for your Math Excel tomorrow on Wednesday. And so that's kind of what we do is Monday, your Math Excel is assigned. Wednesday, you'll do your quiz in class, and then everything is due by Sunday. And I'll also update your Math Excel from week 10, or I'm sorry, week 9 tomorrow. So you'll have a great update. So if you look at your YouTube channel for this class, I'm going to click on this right here. You guys have 43 videos on there. And so yesterday was week 10 Monday. I already have it there. So every day I usually just update your video. So in case you're absent, you're not missing anything in class. All right, so today we're going to continue on talking about properties of exponent and radical functions. We're going to be on this topic throughout this entire week. And then next week, you guys know, is spring break. And so you have 2 weeks of no school. If you're doing intersession, we do have intersession, but it's going to be on Edgenuity and it's in the Career Center. So if you are currently taking Edgenuity right now, you need to talk to an Edgenuity teacher about spring break intersession. But if you're not an Edgenuity, then don't worry about it. When you guys come back, we'll go on to week 11, 12, 13, and we'll finish up this unit on week 13 Friday, which is the last part of this is on inverse relations and functions. We'll be done with it by the middle of April, and then we'll go on to the next unit. Okay, so that's kind of like the breakdown of the calendar where we are. But today it's Tuesday, tomorrow will be Wednesday. I'll have your grade updated. So today, what you guys need is you are going to need your color by numbers. I'm going to give you guys a handout for me. You also need a TI-84 calculator and then color pencils. So come on up, grab this handout. I'm going to give you guys some color pencils. And then grab a TI-84 calculator, which is on the bottom of your table right here, because you're going to need it to do the color by number activity. I'll take that. Thank you. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is looking at your handout. You're gonna be turning this in before you guys leave. We're gonna start off with the upper left-hand side, which is gonna talk about rules for exponent, okay? So looking at this right here, it says, if you're multiplying the same base with the exponent, then you're going to keep the base and add the exponent. So an example of that would be like x to the third times x to the fifth, where you have two of the same bases, and in which case it's just x to the eighth. So you can go ahead and create an example, or you can use mine. You can create one if you would like, but that is mine. So make sure you guys copy that part down for the first one. Number two, the second rule that we talked about yesterday is if you're dividing the same base with the exponent, then what do? You keep the base and you subtract the exponent. So let's come up with an example here. Let's say m to the 6th power over m to the 9th power. And remember, you always go ahead and move the smaller number. And since 6 is smaller, we're going to move it down. But we have to subtract it because you have to change the sign. And then on the bottom, 9 minus 6 is a 3. You just put a 1 on top, you guys. And that's your answer. So make sure you copy that part down in the second example. If you're like, I don't get what you're doing. We're just filling this part out. Do you see the little empty boxes right there? That's all we're doing. For number 3, 0 is the exponent. So if 0 is the exponent, then the expression is equal to 1. A lot of people say it's 0, and that's not correct. That's a highly, highly common misconception. So my example for you is if I have x squared y cubed z to the 4th power to the 0 power, anything to the 0 power is always equal to 1. So copy that down in the box. Number 4, you are raising an exponent to a power, then what do? You keep the base and you multiply the exponent. So what that will look like is if you have a squared, or actually let's do it this way. Let's put 6, actually no, just kidding. 2 to the 3rd, a squared, b to the 4th. On the outside, there is a, let's say a 5, for example. That what you do with that 5 is you multiply it to the 3, to the 2, and then to the 4. And so then your answer is 2, 3 times 5 is 15. A, 2 times 5 is 10. B, 4 times 5 is 20. But you're not done yet. Because there is a 2 there, you got to use your calculator and put it into like an actual number format. So grab your calculator and you want to make sure you know where the buttons are, because it's great that you can use your calculator, but if you don't know where the buttons are, it really, it's kind of useless then, you know what I mean? So let's take a look at your calculator. So we're going to do 2 to the 15th power. Now that's not to say it's 2 times 15. That's not correct. It's not 2 times 15. It's 2 to the 5th power. Okay, so it's not 30, it's 2. You push the 2. You see that exponent button right there that looks like a little triangle without the base? And then you type in 15, and then you hit enter, and you get 32,768. A to the 10, B to the 20th. And that right there, you guys, is your answer. Oops. That's your answer. Okay, so you have to go ahead and calculate that out. Last one. If the negative or the exponent is negative, then move the base and the exponent to the denominator and make the exponent positive. So the example that I'm going to show you guys with this one is going to be, and I'm going to write it over here, but you can write it back over there because it's easier for me to show you guys on the left side. Let's say, for example, we have k to the negative 6th power. And then let's say we have n to the negative 4th power, something like that, okay? They're both negative. So then to make them positive, all you do is you take this and you move it down. You take that and you move it up. And then you get n to the positive 4, k to the positive 6. And that's your answer. So whenever you have a negative exponent, you just move it up and down and it changes to the opposite sign. So make sure you guys copy that part down to fill out your chart. All right, now I want to turn over to our next assignment, which is going to be on your color by numbers. And you need to have a calculator with this one, unless you want to multiply things like, in your head, which I don't think you want to do because it just takes a lot of time to do that. All right, we're going to go over to this part right here. You might have to rotate your paper like by 90 degrees. I know it's on the side, and I did that so I can maximize the usage of space without just wasting a bunch of paper. So this is what you guys have, and we're going to go ahead and simplify the expression. And you're like, what expression? You don't have it on your paper because we're trying to save a tree. So I'll show it to you on the production. Select your answer from the multiple choice options. You're going to have several different choices. Find the letter of the problem in the grid and color it with the color that matches the answer. So that's your instruction. So here's your first one. Okay, so we have problems and it's going to be based on A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then from those 6 questions, do you guys see your options, which is your multiple choice? Like these are your multiple choice for A, okay? And then depending on which answer is correct, you guys have your colors that you're gonna be using. So I'm gonna start off with A. So with A, you have A to the 6 divided by A to the 7. So first thing I wanna do is I wanna rewrite it that way, okay? Then you always wanna move the smaller number. So move that 6 down. And then what is your answer? Well, my answer is going to be 1 over A to the 1 power. When I look at my options here, I don't have any answer here that gives me or match that. So what that means is I move it up and I have 8 to the negative 1. So whenever you see an A on your paper, you're going to color it with a yellow. Okay, so look at your A and then color that with yellow. And while you guys are working on that, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at letter D. So for letter D, you have 7 to the A and 3. So that means you just multiply it. 7 times 3 is a 24. So then for that one, you're going to color it with pink. So any D, you color it with pink. I don't have pink or else I would highlight it as pink, but I don't have it, sorry. And then the other type of question that you have is like question C, where you have 2 bases and you just go 5 and 2, you add them. So 5 and 2 gives me a 7. So it's 6 to the 7th power. And in which case you will color that dark blue. So right now we did A, C, and D. And so you have the colors right there. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that. And then when you're done with that, I'm going to have you guys move on to B, E, and F. Okay, so you're going to do that on your own. And again, you don't have this in front of you. So that's why we're saving a tree. So take a moment, pause the video, and go ahead and do that. The next part. So here's the next series of questions. You guys have 8 right over here. And I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit smaller so you can see a little bit easier. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at, let's start with letter H, okay? So with letter H right here, you have 9 to the 3rd divided by 9 to the 9th power. So I'm just gonna move that down, obviously, because that's the smallest. So if I move that down, I have 1 over 9 minus 3 is going to give me a 6. And if I look at my answers here, I have to move this up. So the only one that matches is going to be the 9 to the negative 6, which is going to be with purple. And then when you're done with H, take a look at the rest of them, like G, I, J, N, O, P, and Q, and then match them as well. I'm going to give you guys about 6 minutes for that. All right, you guys, we're going to go to the very last part of this. So you have 6 more problems here, but I don't really think they're really that difficult. So if you take a look at letter T, for example, you just add them together. So you have 9 to the 8th power, which gives you purple right here. And then if you take a look at K, it's just 2 times 9, which is 18, which gives you light yellow. And that basically concludes the entire thing. So I'm going to give you guys another 5 more minutes to finish this up, and then you should have everything completed. All right. So take your paper and flip it over to the back of this, please. So flip it over to the back. We're going to continue on with our Pi Day celebration, which Pi Day is March 14th, but that's next Monday, so I won't be here. You guys won't be here, so we're just going to celebrate a little bit earlier. So first thing I want you guys to take a look is we are going to look at this right here. Okay, and so this is just a basic of circles, and there are 8 questions. So I want you guys to take a moment and then just label them accordingly. So there are 8 questions, and write down your responses in the boxes together. So name the center. If you look at the center, so this is kind of like a review from geometry, your center is going to be point B. And I think the proper way is you draw the center and you just draw B. Okay. Number 2, name all the radii. So all the radius on here would be, it has to go through the center. So like BC, BD, AB. So you'll just write AB with that little symbol on top, BC, and then BD. Okay. Name the diameter. So going back to geometry, your diameter has to go through both sides of the circle, but also need to touch the center. So that's just AC with a line on top, not line, but a segment. Name all the chords. Okay. So chords are radii, but they are also the ones that go through the side. And actually the chord, it'll just be YC. Although I'm actually CY, it has to be in alphabetical order. Does anybody remember in geometry, could a radius be a chord? I think it could. Oh, just kidding. Can't be a chord. So the radius, okay, so a chord has to be segment which connect 2 different points on a circle. The radius of a chord connects a center and then to the circle. So your radius cannot be a chord. But could a diameter be a chord? I haven't taught geometry in like over 6 years, so I don't remember. Oh yes, so your diameter could be a chord. So in addition to that blue line, this blue line is also a chord. So that one, the diameter, is going to be AC. There we go. So you have to include it. Name a tangent. A tangent is basically a line that goes through one point of the graph on the outside, like this one right here, CE. And because it's a line, you draw little arrows on top. So review of geometry. Name a secant. Your secant touches 2 points on your graph. So it has to be this line right here in red. So that is going to be Y or CY with a line on top. Name the point of tangency. That means where is the point where your tangent goes through? It's that black dot right there. So that's just point C. And the last question, it says, is BD equal to BC? So here is BD, that's a radius. BC is also a radius. So yes, because they're both radii. There we go. They're both radius. For the last 6 minutes of class, you guys can go ahead and just color whatever else you want to color that's on the remaining part of this paper. And so then you're just going to turn it in before you guys leave.